Welcome back to CoinAgeEra. Today, we're bringing another exciting coin battle between two classic American coins, the 1971 Washington Quarter and the 1970 Washington Quarter. At first glance, both coins look almost identical. They fear the submarine leader, George Washington, and both were minted in the early 1970s. But here's the interesting part. Some collectors have paid hundreds or even thousands of dollars for certain rare examples of these quarters. So the big question is, which coin is actually more valuable today, the 1971 quarter or the 1972 quarter? In this video, we'll explore their history, design, rarity, and collector value to find out which coin wins this battle. Let's start with the 1971 Washington Quarter. The 1971 Washington Quarter is part of the long-running Washington Quarter series that began in 1932, to honor de 200th birthday of George Washington, the first President of the United States. The coin was designed by famous sculptor John Flanagan, whose portrait of Washington became one of the most recognizable designs in American coinage. On the front obverse of the coin, you can see Washington's left-facing portrait along with the inscriptions "Liberty, in God we trust," and the date 1971. On the reverse, the coin features a powerful American eagle with spread wings, holding arrows and olive branches, a symbol of strength and peace for the nation. By 1971, quarters were no longer made of silver. After the Coinage Act of 1965, the U.S. Mint switched to a copper-nickel-clad composition, which means a copper core layered with nickel. Millions of these quarters were minted in Philadelphia and Denver, making most of them common in circulation. Value and worth. Most circulated 1971. Washington quarters are worth about 25 cents to $1. However, coins in high mint state condition or with rare mint errors can be worth much more. Some well-preserved examples have sold for $100 to over $1,500 at auctions. That's why collectors always check their quarters carefully, because sometimes an ordinary coin can turn into a valuable collectible. Now let's move to the second coin in this comparison, the 1970 Washington Quarter. Just like the previous coin, the 1972 quarter is part of the historic Washington Quarter series that began in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first President of the United States. The design of the coin was created by the well-known American sculptor John Flanagan, whose portrait of Washington has remained one of the most famous images in U.S. coin history. On the front obverse of the 1970 Washington Quarter, you can see the left-facing portrait of George Washington. Around the portrait appear the inscriptions "Liberty, in God we trust," and the date 1972. The reverse, back design features the powerful American bald eagle with its wings spread wide. The eagle is holding arrows and olive branches, symbolizing both strength and peace of the nation. By the early 1970s, quarters were no longer made from silver. After the Coinage Act of 1965, the U.S. Mint began producing quarters using a copper-nickel-clad composition, a copper core covered with nickel layers. The 1972 Washington Quarter was minted in huge numbers at the U.S. Mint facilities in Philadelphia and Denver, which means most of these coins are still common in circulation today. Value and worth. Most circulated 1970 Washington. Quarters are worth face value 25 cents or slightly more, depending on condition. However, collectors are always searching for high-grade mint state coins and rare mint eras. Coins with exceptional preservation or unusual mint mistakes can sell for $100 to over $2 This is why coin collectors always check their change carefully, because even an ordinary-looking quarter might actually be a valuable collectible, hidden in plain sight. So after comparing both coins, the 1971 Washington quarter and the 1972 Washington quarter, one thing becomes clear. At first, they may look almost identical. Both feature the legendary George Washington. Both were minted in the early 1970s. And both were made with the same copper-nickel composition. But when it comes to collector value, condition and rare mint eras can completely change the price. Some rare examples of these quarters have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auctions. That means the ordinary-looking quarter sitting in your pocket today could actually be a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered. Now, it's your turn. If you had to choose one coin to keep, which would it be, 1971 or 1972? Comment your choice below and let's see which coin wins this comparison. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to CoinAgeEra for more amazing coin comparisons and rare coin discoveries.